Procrastination is the thief of time. One of my teachers always reminded me, and I'm sharing that timely reminder with you as we wind down the month of October. Welcome to today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Coming up, clearing our shores of the sargassum seaweed. The National Environment and Planning Agency undertakes emergency cleanup exercises to rid our shores of this invasive seaweed. Plus, a partnership to create universal health coverage. All this and much more right after this message.
Now make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean. Cause it's so easy for germs multiply. You better wash your hands, it can save your own life. Wash your hand them clean, nobody spread no disease now. Hand washing is key.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, October 27. The Ministry of Justice says it's likely to ask the UK-based Privy Council for a copy of the letter alleged to have proposed sittings of the final Court of Appeal in Jamaica. The letter was read into the records by opposition Senator Marlene Malahoo Forte last Thursday during her contribution to the debate to adopt the Caribbean Court of Justice as Jamaica's final appellate court. A copy of the document was, however, not presented to the Upper House as requested by the President of the Senate. Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding says his ministry has no record of the letter and would need to examine the document to determine authenticity and explore its reported proposal.
I'm still expecting my colleague Marlene to produce a letter like she said she would. If she doesn't, I'm obviously going to have to ask the Privy Council if they can find from their records and produce a copy for us.
In the meantime, the Justice Minister is asserting that despite the odd sittings in places like the Bahamas and Mauritius, at the expense of those governments, the Privy Council, unlike the CCJ, is not a roving court and access for ordinary Jamaicans remains too difficult.
We don't feel that those arrangements, ad hoc arrangements, whatever symbolic purpose they may have served, constitute proper arrangements for affording access to justice to a final court. The Privy Council has never sat in Jamaica after 200 years or thereabouts of being our final court.
The Senate started its debate on the three bills which seek to make the CCJ Jamaica's final appellate court on October 16. They were previously passed with the required two-thirds majority in the House of Representatives. Foreign Affairs Minister Senator A.J. Nicholson says the United Nations remain an essential forum for the conduct of multilateral affairs. His comments came in a press release on the celebration of October 24 as the UN's 70th year of existence. Minister Nicholson says the UN remains the only institution with unquestioned legitimacy to organize the international community around the promotion of international peace and security, fundamental human rights and freedoms, economic and social development and prosperity. He pointed to the UN 2030 agenda as a defining agenda for putting people at the center of the development process. Jamaica, he says, has special reasons to celebrate as many Jamaican nationals are among the cadre of international public servants providing distinguished service. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has pledged to adopt the Agricultural Science Department of Newell High School in St. Elizabeth in a bid to help expand the agricultural program currently delivered to enrolled students. This was disclosed by State Minister Luther Buchanan during a visit to the school last Thursday. He said the decision was part of the ministry's thrust to get more young people involved in agriculture, particularly in St. Elizabeth.
Newell High School is located within the agricultural belt of the breadbasket of St. Elizabeth. And as such, if we are serious about encouraging youths in agriculture, it is just befitting that the Ministry of Agriculture adopts the Newell High School Agricultural Department to work alongside them in terms of the technical support that the school would need outside of their agricultural department.
He said the support would also include allocating up to 10 acres of government-owned land at Hounslow to enhance the students' training program. 6 tertiary students pursuing careers in science and technology have received scholarships and bursaries valued at $1.3 million. The awards, which range from $200,000 to $300,000, were handed over during a recent ceremony under the Glencore Scholarship Fund. Science and Technology Minister Philip Paulwell says the scholarship should encourage people to take up science, technology, engineering, and math STEM subjects. He encouraged the awardees to explore the tremendous opportunities in the bauxite and alumina industry, for which engineers are in demand.
As we are now building back our bauxite alumina sector, we need to have the right skill sets, the competencies, and we therefore, in the absence of Jamaicans being qualified here, we have to ensure that the youngsters are being trained in this area.
The recipients, who are from bauxite-producing parishes, are pursuing undergraduate degree courses at the University of the West Indies and the University of Technology. And finally, Jamaicans are being called on to join in the observance of Family Planning Week 2015 under the theme Building Families, Building Our Nation, a focus on vulnerable populations. Executive Director of the National Family Planning Board, NFPB, Dr. Denise Chavans, says there is need for robust advocacy on issues that affect the family and family support systems, including support to combat sexually transmitted diseases. She says important aspects of the agency's family and population planning programs include sexual and reproductive health response, HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment and care, and enabling human rights for all vulnerable groups. Dr. Chavan says the NFPB is now ready to roll out its integrated suite of services to address these and other matters.
The integration is not only going to be of great cost efficiency, but also it will provide almost a one-stop shop. Instead of going to get family planning methods on one day and then having to return another day to get an HIV test, that all of those services can now be met in one visit.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamar McHale. Thanks for watching. Fever, rash, joint pain, and red eyes. All common signs of the Zika virus or ZIKV. Symptoms are usually mild, lasting anywhere from a few days to a week. Jamaica has no Zika cases, but if it gets here, it would only be transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Don't give Zika a chance. Prevent the breeding of these pesky mosquitoes.
The use of oil, cooking oil, a little tip of cooking oil poured on the surface of the water, suffocates the larvae and prevents them hatching out. So persons can do that.
What you just saw was the sargassum seaweed, which for a long time has been washing up on the coastlines of the Caribbean and other geographic locations. Researchers now believe that the region is facing a seaweed invasion. Learn more on what the National Environment and Planning Agency is doing to remove them from our shorelines.
The seaweed we're talking about is, well, it's a name, sargassum. It's a group of algae, pelagic, holopelagic algae, and they're there are two species in particular, sargassum nathans and sargassum fluitans. These are the two species that predominate. They accumulate on in coastal bays, and then it's washed ashore and accumulate in mounds on the beach. A lot of our islands and in countries that are borders onto the Caribbean Sea, where they have been experiencing the accumulation of this particular seaweed. This started, and it's been tracked since 2011 up until this present time, but it's become perhaps more severe during this year, 2015. It's a significant issue, especially for us as small island states, as countries such as ours, which depend on tourism and tourism-related economies. If it accumulates, then it starts to die off. Then there's a smell, there's an odor, and so people who use the beach can be impacted in that regard. People who live in close proximity, and of course, if you are in a hotel and it accumulates on that beach, then you might be exposed to that particular odor. There's impact also on possible wildlife that inhabits the beach. The impact to the fishermen who use the beach when it accumulates in certain areas. I mean, it affects the fishing gear, the fish nets, the boats themselves get entrained within the sargassum. It affects the intakes of the vessels. When it settles out, it smothers the reef as well.
We ask that it be raked, that there's no use of heavy-duty vehicles, because heavy-duty vehicles can cause more impact on the beach. When you remove the sargassum, noting that within the sargassum itself there are living organisms, and so as it starts decaying, it will start having an odor. You have two options. You can stockpile in a designated area, let it dry, and in drying you constantly turn it so it dries faster, or you can have the option you can bury it on the beach. That is not a bad option if you can't find anywhere to actually take it and remove it. We also said that if you're removing it, to identify a proper site to dispose of it, because you don't want to place it somewhere and that odor affects your neighbor or another surrounding. So sometimes we take it to a registered dump or bury it in a hole. But what we ask though is, wherein you're examining the beach and you recognize that it's 3 feet or a meter above, we ask that you will contact the agency.
Some funds have been made available to respond to cleanup activity. For now, we have $5 million. We have had a cleanup activity over in St. Mary that some funds have been made available to support that cleanup activity. We had some accumulation in the grill. So there was a cleanup there, and it might be that we'd have to do some expenditure to assist in that cleanup effort.
Recently, Sarah Lee Berger, member of the Clarendon Parish Council's Poor Relief Committee, received a national award for long and faithful service in helping the poor and destitute. Today, we highlight the work of the Clarendon Parish Council's Poor Relief Committee, which is part of the operations of the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
This is a typical Tuesday afternoon for volunteers from the Clarendon Poor Relief Department, combing the streets of the Maypen town, ensuring that homeless persons are given a hot meal. It's just one of the services offered to the poor and destitute, not only in Clarendon, but island-wide. The duty to support the welfare of the nation's poor falls within the Board of Supervision, an agency under the Ministry of Local Government. In each parish, programs are coordinated by the parish councils and the poor relief departments.
We really supervise homeless programs across the island, working with parish councils and also NGOs who deliver services to those who are homeless. We want to ensure that these services are delivered in the acceptable standard, that persons are rehabilitated and are able to contribute to community development.
Working with state and private sector partners, administrators at the Board of Supervision try to provide relief to the homeless, residents of infirmaries and persons living in substandard conditions at personal residences.
We have outdoor persons on the outdoor, persons who we actually assist, and they live in their communities. They need food, they need medical attention and housing. and assistance for children. We give an allowance. Once a person is relieved, then automatically they should be assisted by the PASS program.
A country that doesn't care for the old and the less fortunate is not a country which is moving in the right direction. And a council which is not doing the same is not a council which is moving in the right direction.
The last survey of homeless persons conducted in November 2013 captured 77 of them in Clarendon, making it the parish with the third largest homeless population. So poor relief officers have seen the need to beef up their services in the area. A new poor relief office was opened in Rock River in February 2014. That's in addition to 8 other offices scattered across the parish to ensure officers stay close to the communities they serve. Persons who require assistance can visit the nearest poor relief department, get registered, and wait for a home visit to determine the nature of assistance needed. In addition to that, there's a poor relief committee that works to craft additional programs.
We meet monthly, and whatever we discuss, we notice that there's a lot of improvement at the infirmary and other places around the parish regarding the poor.
This is one initiative that resulted from those meetings, the opening of an activities center at the parish's infirmary.
Persons tend to underestimate the importance of elderly persons having things to do and contributing to their whole living, their whole livelihood. So we really appreciate and endorse this move.
We've always had residents who do bits and pieces of activity, but then I think if we have it more coordinated, and there's an activity director here, and I think it's a base for her where she can gather all her active residents. They're in one location.
Some have varying levels of ability. So maybe they can crochet, they can use the sewing machine. There's a man here that can make shoes or mats out of the banana bark. They might just want to come in and read editorial in the paper or just do a little painting. But whoever can be engaged to whatever degree, this is the center that they ought to go to. And this will be improved as time goes by.
Added to the $1.3 million spent to upgrade the physical structure of the infirmary in 2013, the center's opening represents another step in the modernization of services to the less fortunate. And the administrators are careful to not neglect the general health of the infirmary's over 138 residents. To ensure they keep in tip-top shape, a weekly schedule of consultations is rotated with a medical professional.
We've got persons with different conditions, hypertensive, diabetic, cardiac, asthmatics, and all that. So a doctor couldn't have seen like X amount of person within a day. So based on that, then he has to come like once per week to ensure that over a period of time, all the residents are seen and treated.
And just next door, the parish council has identified a building which it will be developing as a homeless shelter.
Our vision in Clarendon is to have a center where those persons can be able to be examined by a medical practitioner, can be able to have a bath, a change of clothes, and even try to re-socialize with society.
Clarendon is able to do all this with the assistance of subventions from the local government and labor ministries, as well as the kind support of its partners. Similar programs exist in all parishes, so if you need assistance or know someone who does, don't hesitate to contact the Board of Supervision, 85 Halfway Tree Road, Kingston 10, telephone 754-0992-9.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
One of the post-millennium development goals is achieving universal health coverage, which essentially is ensuring that everyone has their basic health needs met at an affordable cost. Jamaica is on this path as it partners with the World Health Organization. Learn more.
In developing countries such as Jamaica, ill health is one of the most frequent causes of poverty. In turn, poverty is one of the greatest health risks. The importance of social health protection has therefore driven several international resolutions and campaigns for many decades. And now the world is moving towards universal health coverage, UHC.
Jamaica subscribed to the WHO definition, which states that universal health coverage implies, and I quote, that all people have access without discrimination to nationally determined sets of promotive, preventative, curative, and rehabilitative basic health services needs, and essential, safe, affordable, effective, and quality medicines, while ensuring that the use of these services does not expose the users to financial hardship, with a special emphasis on the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized segments of the population. End of quote.
Jamaica is taking steps towards this. But along the way, we have had challenges with the high cost of healthcare, which all around has affected things such as the level of resources in our hospitals and clinics, and also human development concerns from our doctors and nurses. And with guided support from the international community, we are pursuing key strategies to make universal health coverage a reality for Jamaicans.
As part of the process, PAHO has developed a draft strategy for universal health coverage, coordinated by the Department of Health Systems and Services, with the participation of advisors and country focal points in ministries of health in the area of health systems. The findings, considerations, and ideas of the countries will be discussed and integrated into the final version by a working group that in fact includes Jamaica.
So where is Jamaica at on this path to universal health coverage? According to the Human Development Index, in 2006, Jamaica ranked above the average life expectancy of developing countries, and as of 2014, our life expectancy is 75 years for females and 71.5 years for males. A number of tangible investments have contributed to these gains.
The upgrading of the aging infrastructure at primary and secondary care. More than 100 health centers have been refurbished under the primary care infrastructure renewal program. And since 2012, 1.5 billion has been spent for equipment acquisition and upgrading of hospitals.
Government is also improving the system to service existing equipment. Pharmacy services have also been improved, more so since the National Health Fund took over management of the public facilities, reducing waiting times by more than 75%. There has also been the introduction of the GOJ Health Card, which is improving efficiency in delivery service, the collection of health insurance from private insurance providers, and the dispensing of pharmaceuticals. Added to these is a coordinated program to upgrade primary health infrastructure and services.
The completion of phase 1 of all 4 centers of excellence, Claremont in St. Anne, Isaac Barrett in St. Thomas, Darlington in Westmoreland, Santa Cruz in St. Elizabeth, all have been officially open, and Jamaicans are enjoying the upgraded and improved services.
Other plans are unfolding, including increased public-private sector partnerships, intersectoral collaboration among the various government ministries, legislation and regulation to guarantee the right to health, equity, and solidarity, and the development of a robust regulatory framework, public education, and increased public expenditure on health. Jamaica, now on the path to achieving universal health coverage.
The main health objective of Vision 2030, our National Development Plan, is for a healthy and stable population.
The transformation of the health sector that is taking place right now is in line with our UHC goals. I want to make it clear that this process will not be completed overnight. It is a journey, not a destination. We therefore continue to build systems of excellence in the health sector that will see our population having access to quality and affordable health care at all levels.
As we close off the observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month this October, we continue to share stories of those who have fought this battle and won. We hear from another survivor.
I would normally do my mammograms in October, but in September of 2010, I felt 2 small lumps under my arm. I was more or less a little frightened because I am very health conscious. Right? It happened on a Thursday, so I went to my doctor on the Friday and I showed her. And she examined it and she gave me some antibiotic that was a black dot. You know, it would be removed by the medicine in the antibiotic. But it didn't remove, so then she sent me to Dr. Alexander, Faye Alexander, and then she confirmed that it was cancer. After I went to my GP, he sent me to a surgeon, and he examined me, and then he explained to me what he would have to do. He gave me several options, whether I want to keep the breast, remove the lump, or just get rid of the breast. I opt for getting rid of the breast because, you know, I just feel sure that, okay, when I get rid of it, it can't come back again in that breast. So I had long hair, so I make sure to cut my hair off, that when I start to lose it, nobody would say, you know, and what happened to your hair and things like that, because they would have used to my hair being short already. So I did that, and when it started to fall off, I got a wig made, and then the treatment started. I did 17, I think it was 18 treatments, and the last one is this medication called Herceptin, which is very expensive, but I got help from my church, I got help from Ministry of Health, I got help from Face the Commodity and my friends, and they stood behind me in prayers. I can tell you right now, the chemo wasn't very nice, you know, you feel sick, but I didn't allow it to bother me so much. Even though I felt sick, I know exercise will be good. So I walked 1.5 miles every day. Yes, I didn't stop from work. I think I only stopped from work once. Yes, and I walked to and from work. One of the things I did, which I am thankful for, I stay away from anyone who would speak negatively about breast cancer. And anybody who has breast cancer, any woman or anybody who has cancer, I would advise them to stay away from people who speak negatively, because that would only, you know, sort of discourage you and make you want to give up. But I didn't give up. Even though I saw my nails start to turn black, my hair fell off, my complexion got black, you know, everything that you didn't expect. But because I had a good doctor, they sort of walked me through everything what I would go through, and I felt very confident, and with God as my guide, I know I could beat cancer. And I would advise people, you know, just once you see something, as a matter of fact, don't even wait. Make sure you do your test, especially women, do your mammogram every year. It is good.
We've come to the end of today's program. We appreciate you sharing in the experience with us. To keep informed of national events and news, click on our website, jis.gov.jm. You can also watch previous features and programs on our YouTube channel. This has been another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.